Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. Omnipresence is omnipotent. How can you become a brand that grows its presence on multiple channels? Hey, Edwin Dearborn here, talking to you about omnipresence. I talked with a CEO and a principal of a company yesterday. They sell software as a service, SaaS. And what became apparent to them was if they're going to dominate a specific niche, and it is a very specific niche, a specific type of software for a very specific type of manufacturer, that we're going to have to surround that audience from every angle. See, there's no one path to building your brand. It isn't like, well, we'll just do Google ads, or we'll just run Facebook ads, or we'll just go to conferences, or we'll just do direct mail. There is no just one channel that's going to give you the presence. And what omnipresence does is when you attack your niche from multiple angles, from multiple channels, that combination gives you a much, much bigger effect than the individual parts. Meaning, if you approach people from 4 or 5 different angles, it has the power of like you're approaching them from 10. There's an exponential factor every time you add another layer of contact. Because at some point, when you have an omnipresence, you get this phenomenon of you guys are everywhere, quote unquote. See, I see you on Facebook, and then I get your direct mail, and then I see you guys posting on LinkedIn, and then I get your emails again, and then I see your videos, and I saw that you were on a podcast. See, that omnipresence approach creates a much bigger effect than trying to dominate just one marketplace. Even if I was making 80% of my revenue from one income channel, I would still want to have the presence in other areas, because studies have shown that that presence in other areas will actually make my advertising dollars go further, because when they see my ad, it'll be, oh yeah, I've heard of you before. Now, how do you create that omnipresence approach? This is always either a limit in imagination or more commonly budget. And I get it. Look, small businesses, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, they don't have a lot of money. And creating that omnipresence seems to be almost an impossible task. Well, there's a way to do it. And I'll give you a little tip here of what because there's a gradient here. You can begin and go, okay, my first journey towards omnipresence may be 3 channels. I'll start with 3 channels. And then I'll automate my content to those 3 channels. And then I'll branch out to a 4th channel. And over time, you add layers to this omnipresence strategy that you have. So let me begin how I would roll this out for this manufacturer or this SaaS company that reaches manufacturing companies. So the first thing I did with the CEO is he's got all this knowledge. He's been in the industry for 30 years. He's got so much data in his head. He could literally write a 10,000 word book that's got, the whys, the wherefores, the hows, the tactics, the tips. It's all in there. He's literally got all the content that he needs in his head. The problem is it's in his head. Moreover, they look at certain channels as non-opportunistic, where I look at it as, look, it's just another touch point. It's another opportunity to have that omnipresence. So number one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to video you, and I'm going to ask you all the questions, and you're going to download all that data in your head. I'm going to video it. Then I'm going to transcribe it. Then I'm going to repurpose that content into blog posts, email blasts, FAQ pages. See, I can data dump his head onto a piece of paper. I can have it transcribed. I can have it edited. I can even have it highlighted and even optimized by a professional writer. And then I can break up that content and I can go, good, email, that's one channel. Social media posts, number 2. 3, FAQ page. Number 4, I can turn that into an ebook. Then I can automate that with software to make sure that we're posting 5 times a day, that we're emailing once a week. Then I can start to go, hey, look, with this platform that I'm on, called StreamYard, you can start doing weekly webinars. There's another touch point. We can have that webinar go live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube concurrently. I can then take the audio portion of that live video that you did from one platform, and then I can repurpose that onto 16 different podcasts. Then I can take the videos and the podcasts and use that again in my automation on social media, email, etc. Now I have an omnipresence approach. Now it's like, man, I see you on LinkedIn. I see you're doing podcasts. I see your social media posts all the time. People wonder how I'm on social media all the time. And the trick is I've created a library of data, and then I work with virtual assistants and we automate the process. So it's like, it seems like I'm on social media all the time, but what I've done is I've created a library of data and then I've automated it. And now I've handed off to a lot of people to assist me in that endeavor. But it did not start out that way. The way it started out was me typing on 3 different channels, then got into video, then got the video into podcast, then got the podcast automated, distributed. And all of a sudden, little by little, I built myself an omni-channel approach. Now add to that retargeting. Those people who go to my website, now I can retarget them on Google display ads, YouTube, Facebook. I can follow them around with specific ads for them only. And on top of that, I can call people. But this omni-channel approach is what will give you a much more powerful and larger presence than what you really are. So if you're the little guy trying to look like a bigger guy, then omni-channel marketing must become part of your strategy. That is the unlock to appear to be bigger. That is the unlock to become bigger. So you're just starting out, or you're trying to make a name for yourself. How do you 10x that presence? How do you 10x that power? And I'm telling you, omnipresence is omnipotent. Now, if you need help with that strategy of, well, what message should I put out there? What channels? How often? Should I do podcasts? Should I do videos? Is that the right move for me? Because you're not going to deploy your omnipresence nor your marketing strategy if you have uncertainty about who you are, what your value is, what your message is, what your brand is, or you're confused about the technology and really what is the best bang for your buck. Where would you get the most traction? And so the first step to building that is really research, market research. Who is your audience? What are they thinking? What is that persona? What is their demographics? What are their psychographics? What are their needs? What are their wants? What are their pain points? What are their whys? What are they trying to achieve? What are their goals? When you understand that psyche of the audience and where they are and what they want, then it's much easier to start to craft that omnipresence approach within your marketing strategy. If you need help with that, please reach out to me or, get one of my books. I talk about this in my book, Power Branding Secrets. I also talk about this in my ebook, 3 Degrees of Separation, which you can get for 99 cents. and you can start to kind of move your mind and move your strategy towards how to create a bigger presence than what you really are. Look, perception is reality. How you get people to perceive you is the reality of how they will perceive you. And so, hey, Ethan, thank you, man. Ethan is catching me on YouTube here in Louisville, Kentucky. Well, have a bourbon there for me, buddy. So yeah, it's all about creating that omnipresence. And I know that it's overwhelming to have this concept of I've got to be everywhere and I've got to be on all these channels. But when you really start to delve into the technology and you really start to develop, your certainty of message and how to leverage that technology to get your message out there, it becomes easier over time. But you're going to have to deploy. You're going to have to start doing it. That's just all there is to it. There is no way to learn. What did Confucius say? I do, so therefore I understand. You're only going to gain an understanding by actually practicing and putting to work your omnipresence approach. Yes, there will be bumps along the way. You will make mistakes along the way. It's life. But by making those mistakes, you will learn and you will become better at it. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of Growth Driven. Much success to you. We will talk soon again. Bye-bye.